Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in the next few minutes, I, Joe Lowry, am going to show you how to make the most amazing tri-tip you've ever tasted. This is the kind of tri-tip that when you get invited to barbecues or company picnics and you make this, people are going to name children and small countries after you. So I'm going to first show you what you're going to need. You'll notice the ingredients list here is very, very simple. What we've got is a slab of tri-tip steaks. Now it also comes in roast. The tri-tip comes in roasts. Do not buy the roast, buy the tri-tip steak. This is USDA choice meat, comes from Costco. If I'm not allowed to say Costco on YouTube, I apologize, but that's where it comes from. I'm going to make two different versions for the family tonight. The first version, I'm going to be using a basic seasoned salt. This is Johnny's. I love this stuff. I'm not sure if I can say Johnny's on YouTube. If I can't, just pretend that that's not what that is. This is a great, I also have a dry rub that I use a lot. This works really well as in addition. You'll also notice that I'm just using this off-the-shelf teriyaki sauce right here. This is Yoshida's. It's original. There's also stuff out there. I like this one because it's not too sweet. Works very well as a marinade. Now the other item I'm using here is a half sheet pan. You can get these at any restaurant supply store. They just cost a couple of bucks. We're going to use that to get our meat dry rubbed and marinated. And then you're going to need a couple of these bad boys. A couple of zip top bags. Okay, so now you've got your ingredient list laid out. What we're going to do is quickly assemble. We're just going to put some of the steaks on that sheet pan. We're going to put the dry rub on them. The rest we're going to throw in the Ziploc bag, pour the teriyaki sauce right over it. We're going to push as much air out as possible on those bad boys. Put them in the refrigerator. We're going to eat later tonight, and I want to make sure we have at least 6 to 8 hours of marinade before we get started. So I'm going to put it all together. I'll show you what it looks like. Now you can see as I'm starting on this dry rub here that I'm not being shy with the amount of seasoning that we're putting on these guys. And that's because tri-tip is a pretty tough cut of meat. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we have all sides really, really well covered. And just like the name suggests, you really want to rub this stuff in there. What we're doing is we're pulling the moisture out of the middle of these steaks. And we're making it come to the top where it's going to do a little dance and mingle with all the rest of these seasonings and spices. And once it does that, it's going to then go back into the meat so that your meat will be seasoned all the way through. That's an important point to remember because you want every bite to be as delicious as possible. So now here's the tricky part. And I'm completely being sarcastic in case you couldn't figure that out. Tri-tip in the Ziploc bag. Take the Ziploc, get it all the way a little bit closed. Get as much of that air out as possible. Seal it up. And these little guys are going to go in the fridge, and we're going to pull them out in just a little bit. Okay, so that was the dry rub. What we've got here is the remaining 3 tri-tip steaks. And as you can see, this is going to be terrifically difficult, just like doing the dry rub was. Got my bag open. Just going to fill it here with some of this awesome marinade. This little teriyaki sort of yumminess. Same thing we did before. Ziploc bag. Get as much of that air out as you can. And if you have a vacuum sealer, you can go ahead and use that as well. That works really good. And see what we're looking for here? We're looking for high contact with the meat. We want that meat to be completely immersed in that solution. Alright, boys and girls, so we've got our dry rub and our teriyaki sauce is working at the top of our tri-tip. Both of them are in Ziploc bags, and we've got them taking a nap in the refrigerator for the next 6 hours. And during that 6-hour period, we're going to have this magic thing called osmosis happen. So what happens is all the moisture from the middle of those steaks comes out and gets on top. It gets mixed with all those flavors, and then it dives back in. And so you've got seasoned, flavored steaks all the way through. So we're going to let them finish their rest. We'll see you in about 6 hours. I can't wait. Alright, boys and girls, we've pulled the meat out of the refrigerator. It's been about 6 hours, and we did a really, really important step. Now I want you to come over here and take a look at this. This is the steaks, the teriyaki right there. Beautiful. And there's the dry rub. And the important thing that we did there was that we actually let them rest, come up to room temperature. So you don't want to put super cold meat on a hot grill. We've got our barbecue going. We're about, I don't know, 500 degrees, as hot as we can. And we're going to do the next step of this thing, which is sear. And we're going to sear the steaks on each side on our iron plate. And then we're going to cook them over indirect heat and bring them to about 140 to 145 degrees internal temperature. All right, you ready? Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you want to hear. Now don't touch it, but we're gonna sear them on each side for probably 2-3 minutes. Now you'll notice that burner's on high, that burner's on high, and that burner is off. That's because we're gonna heat and sear on this side, and then we're gonna move over here. We're going to finish them with indirect heat. Alright, it's been about 2 minutes. We're coming up on our first turn. Look at that. Oh, man. Oh. See that right there? That is going to make a lot of people very, very happy. Alright, so we've got a great sear on this tri-tip. And we are just moving it off of that pan. Look at that. We're just putting it over here on the indirect heat. We're going to finish on the indirect heat. So we're going to go for another, I'd say about 6 or 7 minutes with the lid down. And we're going to go to the internal temperature about 140. So we got my little timer over here and my meat thermometer. And we're going to plug that in and we'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Yes. Are you kidding me? Look at that. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Now, trust me when I say you are going to want to get into this so hard. I know you are, but don't. You got to let it go for at least 10 minutes off the grill, okay? Are you in there on that close? All right, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Now with tri-tip, you want to kind of cut it a little bit on the bias there. And what you're seeing is that perfectly, are you kidding me? Look at that. Perfectly seared on the outside, nice big warm pink in the middle. This is what I would call medium. And the most amazing thing is about letting that meat rest. You'll notice that the juice isn't running out all over the board. It's staying right there. And you know what that means? That means that. Oh. All right, let's review. So check this out. Here's your review. Good? Go make something awesome. See ya.